Hello, English learners. Welcome back to Daily English Talks. I'm Mia, and today we're going on a long, exciting journey together. This is your Advanced English Vocabulary Masterclass, a full, immersive lesson designed to help you understand, feel, and use advanced words naturally in your daily life. You'll not only learn words, but also how to think in English, how to choose the right word for the right moment, and how to make your English sound confident and intelligent. Every word has a story. Every word carries emotion, rhythm, and personality. In this masterclass, I'll guide you through advanced vocabulary that real speakers use in real situations. From conversations to writing, from casual chats to professional communication. Let's start with the idea of precision in language. Advanced English speakers use words that fit perfectly. Not too strong, not too weak, but just right. For example, instead of saying very important, you might say crucial or essential. Instead of saying very big, you might use enormous, vast, or immense. And when you want to sound calm but strong, you might say something like, "That's a significant improvement," rather than, "That's a very big improvement." Pause for a second and repeat after me slowly. Crucial, essential, significant, immense, vast, remarkable. Now, imagine you're talking about your work. Instead of saying, "My boss is very smart," you could say, "My boss is exceptionally perceptive." That word perceptive means someone who notices details and understands things deeply. Let's practice that in context. I really admire how perceptive she is. She always understands what clients need before they even say it. Try repeating it. I really admire how perceptive she is. Good. Now let's make it more conversational. Imagine you're chatting with a friend. Instead of saying, "That movie was very good," try saying, "That movie was phenomenal," or "That movie was captivating." Both words express deeper appreciation. Phenomenal means outstanding, and captivating means it held your attention completely. Practice aloud with me. The performance was phenomenal. The story was captivating. Feel the rhythm. The tone becomes more confident and expressive when you use advanced words naturally. Let's move on to emotional vocabulary. Words that describe feelings more precisely than just happy, sad, or angry. When you say, "I'm happy," it's fine. But advanced English lets you express how happy and why. For example, you might say, "I'm elated," when you're extremely happy, or "I'm content," when you feel calm and satisfied. "I'm thrilled," when you're excited. "I'm overjoyed," when something wonderful happens. Repeat with me slowly. Elated, content, thrilled, overjoyed. Now, Let's make them real. I felt elated when I got the job offer. I'm content with how my day went. She was thrilled to see her family again. He looked overjoyed after hearing the news. Feel how these words carry emotional weight. When you use them, your English starts to reflect your personality more vividly. Let's practice a small dialogue. Mia: Hey, how was your weekend? You: Oh, it was amazing. I was thrilled to finally relax after such a hectic week. Mia: That sounds wonderful. You must have felt so content just doing nothing for a while. You: Exactly. It was pure bliss. Notice that word, bliss. It means perfect happiness or peaceful joy. Try saying it slowly. Bliss. Now let's learn its adjective form. Blissful. It was a blissful Sunday afternoon. She smiled blissfully as she watched the sunset. See how natural that sounds? Let's explore some negative emotions next because advanced speakers don't just say, I'm sad. They choose words like melancholy, disheartened, discouraged, devastated, or gloomy depending on the situation. Practice with me. I felt a bit melancholy after watching that movie. He was disheartened by the results. She looked gloomy because it kept raining all day. They were devastated when they lost their pet. Every one of these has a shade of sadness, but they're not identical. Melancholy feels poetic and gentle. Devastated is strong, emotional, and deep. Gloomy describes a sad atmosphere, not just a person's feeling. Now let's practice through imagination. Picture yourself on a cloudy day. You're walking home after a long, difficult week. You might say, I felt gloomy as the gray sky hung over the city. Try repeating that softly. I felt gloomy as the gray sky hung over the city. That's advanced fluency, connecting feelings, images, and vocabulary naturally. Next, let's explore vocabulary for describing people's personality and behavior. Instead of saying, he's nice, try something richer like, he's compassionate, or she's considerate. Instead of, he's smart, say, he's astute, or she's insightful. Instead of, she's hardworking, say, she's diligent, or he's industrious. Let's repeat slowly. Compassionate, considerate, astute, insightful, diligent, industrious. Now, let's use them in real-life practice examples. My teacher is extremely insightful. She notices even the smallest mistake. He's one of the most diligent people I've ever met. She's compassionate and always helps others without expecting anything in return. These words sound more natural and more refined. That's what advanced vocabulary does. It refines your speech, giving it color and precision. Here's a small exercise for you. Think of 3 people you know, maybe a friend, a family member, or a colleague, and describe them using one advanced adjective each. For example, my friend Sam is resourceful. My sister is meticulous. My colleague is articulate. Pause and actually think of them now. Say them aloud. Let the words stay on your tongue for a moment. Speaking of articulate, that's a powerful word to describe someone who expresses ideas clearly and effectively. Practice it with me. She's articulate and confident when presenting her ideas. He's not just intelligent, he's articulate. Now, let's move to communication vocabulary. Advanced words that help you describe conversations, discussions, or arguments more naturally. Instead of we talked, try we discussed, we conversed, or we had a deep exchange. Instead of we disagreed, try we had conflicting opinions, or we had a difference of perspective. Repeat slowly. Discussed, conversed, conflicting opinions, perspective. In advanced English, you might say something like, we engaged in a thoughtful discussion about climate change. We had a brief exchange before the meeting. Our opinions diverged on that topic. That word diverged means moved apart. You can use it in physical or abstract ways. Our paths diverged after college, or our views diverged during the debate. Try saying it. Diverged. Now, let's practice comparing words with subtle differences. Persuasive versus manipulative. Both describe influencing others, but persuasive is positive, convincing through reason or charm, while manipulative is negative, influencing by control or dishonesty. Repeat with me. He's a persuasive speaker. She's a manipulative boss. Feel the nuance. Advanced learners don't just memorize words. They understand tone, intention, and emotion. Let's explore another. Cautious versus cowardly. Cautious means careful and wise. Cowardly means afraid to take action. One shows intelligence, the other shows fear. She's cautious when making decisions. He was too cowardly to admit his mistake. And here's one more. Curious versus nosy. Both describe people who want to know things, but curious is positive, open-minded and interested, while nosy is negative, interfering in others' privacy. She's curious about how things work. He is too nosy. He always asks personal questions. Advanced vocabulary is all about these fine shades of meaning. Let's pause for a quick mini practice. I'll say a simple word, and you think of an advanced synonym. Ready? Good. Pause. Maybe excellent, outstanding, superb, or exceptional. Next. Bad. You could say terrible, awful, atrocious, or dreadful, tired. maybe exhausted, fatigued, drained, or weary. Angry. You might say furious, irritated, enraged, or infuriated. Excellent work. Now, let's put it all together in a small, real-life dialogue for shadowing practice. Mia. Hey, you look exhausted. Did you sleep well? You. Not really. I had a dreadful night. My neighbors were making so much noise. Mia. Oh no, that sounds awful. You must be completely drained today. You. Exactly. I'm trying to stay focused, but it's tough. See how the vocabulary adds texture and emotion? That's how you move from basic to advanced fluency. One word at a time, one feeling at a time. Let's keep going. Now that you've started to feel how rich and expressive advanced vocabulary can be, let's dive deeper into the kind of words that make your communication more refined, precise, and powerful. One thing you'll notice about advanced English speakers is that they don't use long or complicated words just to sound smart. They use the right words, the ones that express exactly what they mean. That's the beauty of vocabulary mastery. It's not about sounding academic, it's about sounding accurate. Take the word subtle, for example. It's one of those words that carry elegance. When something is subtle, it's not obvious, but it's clever, delicate, and detailed. You could say, she gave me a subtle hint, meaning she didn't say it directly, but you understood. Or, there's a subtle difference between these two colors. Let's practice using it in real life. The perfume had a subtle fragrance of jasmine. He smiled, but there was a subtle sadness in his eyes. She wore makeup so subtle that it looked natural. Now, repeat after me slowly. Subtle, subtly, subtlety. Those three forms, adjective, adverb, noun, are all useful. Try creating your own sentence. I like subtle humor. Next, let's explore the word meticulous. It describes someone who pays great attention to detail, not careless, not rushed, but precise. You can say, she's meticulous about her work, or he prepared the report with meticulous care. Repeat that with me. She's meticulous about her work. He's meticulous with every detail. Now imagine you're describing yourself in an interview. Instead of saying, I'm very careful, say, I'm meticulous when it comes to completing projects. It sounds professional, confident, and natural. Let's practice a few more advanced adjectives for describing people's working styles. Conscientious. Someone who takes their responsibilities seriously and does their best. Pragmatic. Someone who's practical and focused on real solutions instead of theories. Innovative. Someone who brings new and creative ideas. Analytical. Someone who's good at examining data, styles, and patterns. Now repeat these slowly. Conscientious, pragmatic, innovative, analytical, let's make them real in sentences. She's a conscientious student who never misses a deadline. He takes a pragmatic approach to solving problems. The team came up with an innovative solution. She's extremely analytical. She sees patterns others miss. See how natural and professional that sounds? That's the kind of English that helps you communicate in workplaces, meetings, or interviews at a higher level. Now, let's switch gears for a moment and talk about descriptive language, words that make your English sound alive and colorful. Instead of saying, "The view was beautiful," you can say, "The view was breathtaking," or "The scenery was spectacular." Instead of "The food was tasty," you can say, "The food was exquisite," or "The meal was delightful." Practice with me. The sunset was breathtaking. The concert was extraordinary. The hotel was exquisite. The performance was mesmerizing. Each of these words adds depth to your descriptions. When you say amazing, everyone understands. But when you say mesmerizing, people can almost feel the emotion behind your words. Now, let's play a quick transformation game. I'll say a simple sentence, and I'll show you how to elevate it with advanced vocabulary. I was very surprised. I was astonished. Or, I was taken aback. It was very strange. It was peculiar. Or, it was bizarre. The results were very good. The results were outstanding. Or, the results were impressive. She worked very hard. She worked tirelessly. Or, she was exceptionally dedicated. Let's repeat those elevated versions together. I was astonished. It was peculiar. The results were outstanding. She worked tirelessly. Excellent. Now, let's practice with small daily life scenes. Imagine you're describing a weekend trip to your friend. You could say, "The town was charming with narrow cobblestone streets and quaint little cafes." That word quaint means old-fashioned in a pleasant way. Try saying it. Quaint cafes, quaint houses, quaint atmosphere, or imagine talking about a movie. Instead of saying it was boring, say it was monotonous, or it dragged on. Instead of it was funny, say it was hilarious, or it was witty. You could say the movie had witty dialogue, or his jokes were hilarious. See how much more vivid it sounds? Let's move now into words that express change and progress. Because in daily life, we're always talking about how things change, evolve, improve, or deteriorate. Instead of saying things are getting better, you can say things are improving, things are progressing, or things are evolving positively. Instead of saying it got worse, you might say it deteriorated, or the situation declined. Practice with me. Our communication has improved significantly. The company is evolving with new technology. The situation deteriorated after the storm. The project progressed smoothly. You can even use these in emotional or personal contexts. Our relationship has evolved over time. My confidence has improved tremendously. Now, one of the most powerful ways to sound fluent is to use collocations, natural word combinations that native speakers use without thinking. For example, we say make progress, not do progress. We say gain experience, not get experience. Let's practice some advanced collocations you can use daily. Gain insight, meaning to understand something deeply. Make an impact, meaning to create a strong effect or influence. Draw a conclusion, meaning to form an opinion after analysis. Raise awareness, meaning to help others understand an issue. Take initiative, meaning to start something on your own. Repeat after me slowly. Gain insight, make an impact, draw a conclusion, raise awareness, take initiative. Now, let's use them in sentences. I gained valuable insight from that experience. She's trying to make a positive impact in her community. After studying the data, we drew some important conclusions. They launched a campaign to raise awareness about climate change. He always takes initiative when something needs to be done. Perfect. Notice how these phrases sound professional, natural, and advanced all at once. Now, let's do a short reflection exercise. I'll describe a situation and you think of an advanced word that fits. You got a message that surprised you. What could you say? I was astonished. You completed a difficult task. How could you describe it? It was challenging but rewarding. You met someone who made you feel calm and comfortable. She was warm and approachable. You visited a place that amazed you. It was magnificent. You watched a performance that was so good you couldn't stop thinking about it. It was unforgettable. These are the kinds of words that elevate your emotional and descriptive range. Now let's talk about precision verbs. Action words that replace common verbs like get, do, make, or have. Instead of get, try obtain, acquire, or receive. Instead of do, try perform, execute, or accomplish. Instead of make, try create, develop, or produce. Instead of have, try possess, own, or experience. For example, instead of I got permission, say I obtained permission. Instead of we did a test, say we conducted a test. Instead of she made a plan, say she formulated a plan. Let's practice those together. I obtained permission from my supervisor. We conducted a detailed analysis. She formulated a new strategy. They developed a comprehensive plan. Now, let's take a real-life moment. You're explaining a project at work. Instead of, "We did some research," say, "We conducted extensive research." Instead of, "We made changes," say, "We implemented adjustments." Instead of, "We got feedback," say, "We received valuable feedback." When you start using verbs like conduct, implement, analyze, evaluate, and enhance, your English becomes powerful and professional. Repeat after me. Conduct, implement, analyze, evaluate, enhance. Let's put them in practice. We conducted a survey to understand customer needs. The team implemented a new system. She analyzed the data thoroughly. We evaluated several options before deciding. He enhanced the design with creative details. Now, here's a quick pronunciation note. Many advanced words have stress on the second syllable, like relax, increase, discuss. So when you speak, slow down and let the rhythm flow. Don't rush through advanced words. Own them with clarity and confidence. Let's close this part with a mini shadowing practice. See to combine what we've learned. Mia, how was your meeting today? You, it went really well. We conducted a detailed analysis of our progress. Mia, that sounds productive. You, yes, we implemented a few innovative ideas that could enhance efficiency. Mia, wow, that's impressive. You must be exhausted though. You, a little, but I'm content with what we accomplished. Excellent. You're not just learning words, you're learning rhythm, emotion, and precision all at once. Now that you've begun mastering precision verbs and descriptive adjectives, let's move into another level. The language of connection, persuasion, and subtle influence. Because vocabulary isn't just about knowing words, it's about using them to shape meaning, tone, and relationships in conversation. Imagine you're in a discussion with someone and you want to agree politely, but also sound thoughtful. Instead of saying, "I agree," you could say, "I completely concur," or "I'm in full agreement with you," or even, "That's precisely what I was thinking." Each version has a slightly different level of formality and warmth. Let's practice slowly. I completely concur. That's precisely what I was thinking. I'm in full agreement with you. Feel how calm and confident those sound. Now let's look at the opposite side. Disagreeing politely. In advanced English, disagreement isn't about confrontation. It's about nuance. Instead of saying, "I don't agree," you could say, "I see your point, but I have a different perspective." Or, "That's an interesting idea, but I'm not entirely convinced." Practice that with me. I see your point, but I have a different perspective. That's an interesting idea, but I'm not entirely convinced. Notice the balance. You're showing respect, but also confidence in your own opinion. That's the secret to advanced communication. Let's add a few more advanced phrases you can use in discussions or meetings. To some extent, I agree with you. From my standpoint, it seems different. That's a valid observation. I'd like to elaborate on that. Let's delve deeper into that point. All of these make your English sound diplomatic, natural, and emotionally intelligent. Now, let's practice persuasion. Words that help you express ideas with conviction. If you want to encourage someone, you might say, I strongly recommend, I firmly believe, or it's absolutely essential that we, instead of just, I think. Repeat these phrases with me. I strongly recommend we try it. I firmly believe this approach will work. It's absolutely essential that we communicate clearly. Those phrases make your tone sound confident yet respectful. Now let's move to transition and linking vocabulary, the glue that connects your ideas smoothly. Advanced English speakers use linking phrases naturally to structure thoughts. For example, instead of but, you could say however, nevertheless, on the other hand, or yet. Instead of because, you might use since, as, or due to the fact that. Instead of so, try therefore, thus, or as a result. Let's say them together slowly. However, nevertheless, on the other hand, due to the fact that, therefore, thus, as a result. Now, let's use them in natural speech. I wanted to go out. However, it started raining. She was exhausted. Nevertheless, she continued working. We had limited time. Therefore, we focused on the main tasks. It's important to rest, as your body needs recovery. See how those transitions make your sentences smoother and more professional? That's how advanced vocabulary helps your ideas flow seamlessly. Now let's dive into another layer. Words that describe complex emotions and abstract thoughts. Have you ever felt two emotions at once? Happy and sad, calm and uncertain, confident but nervous? English has advanced words for that too. For example, bittersweet means something that's both pleasant and painful. Nostalgic means you feel a warm sadness way and remembering the past. Ambivalent means you have mixed feelings about something. Intrigued means you're very curious and fascinated. Let's repeat these slowly. Bittersweet, nostalgic, ambivalent, intrigued. Now, let's use them in context. It was a bittersweet farewell. I was happy for her new journey, but sad to see her go. I feel nostalgic whenever I visit my childhood home. I'm a bit ambivalent about moving to another country. Excited, but nervous too. I'm intrigued by how people adapt to change. These are beautiful emotional words. They make your speech human, deep, and expressive. Let's create a short exercise together. I'll describe a feeling, and you choose which advanced word fits best. You look at old photos and feel warm but slightly sad. Which word fits? Nostalgic. You feel happy but also a little sad at the same time. Bittersweet. You're not sure if you want something or not. Ambivalent. You find something mysterious and want to know more. Intrigued. Perfect. Now, let's look at a few abstract thinking words. Words used when talking about ideas, society, art, or life. Perception. How you see or understand something. Perspective. Your point of view. Insight. A deep understanding of something. Intuition. Understanding something instantly without reasoning. Concept. An idea or principle. Repeat them. Perception. Perspective. Insight. Intuition. Concept. Now, let's put them into natural use. Her perception of success changed as she grew older. From a different perspective, failure is just a lesson. He offered valuable insights during the meeting. My intuition told me something was wrong. That's an interesting concept. Can you explain it further? You can feel how these words elevate your discussions. They make you sound like someone who reflects, analyzes, and communicates clearly. Now, let's take these into daily conversation. Practice. Mia. Why did you decide to take that job? You. Well, my perception of career success has changed lately. I value balance more than before. Mia. That's insightful. It's good that you're following your intuition. You. Yes, I felt it was the right move. See how natural those words fit? Advanced vocabulary doesn't belong only in essays. It belongs in life. Let's continue exploring tone and attitude words, words that express how something is said or done. For example, instead of saying he spoke angrily, you can say he spoke harshly or he snapped. Instead of she spoke softly, you could say she murmured, she whispered, or she said gently. Try repeating. He murmured a quiet apology. She whispered something kind. He snapped when he heard the news. And instead of saying, they talked happily, you might say, they chatted cheerfully, or they laughed wholeheartedly. These small changes make your speech more vivid. They help the listener visualize the emotion behind the words. Now, let's explore a few verbs of thought and communication that advanced speakers use often. Contemplate. To think deeply about something. Convey. To communicate or express an idea. Imply. To suggest without saying directly. Assume. To believe something without proof, acknowledge. To accept or admit something is true. Repeat them. Contemplate. Convey. Imply. Assume. Acknowledge. And in context. I often contemplate how language shapes our thinking. She conveyed her gratitude through a warm smile. He implied that he wasn't happy with the results. Don't assume everyone knows what you mean. She acknowledged her mistake and apologized sincerely. These words show subtlety. They make your English sound thoughtful and mature. Let's try a short daily life scenario with these words. Mia. You've been quiet lately. What's on your mind? You. I've been contemplating whether to move to a new city. Mia. Oh, did something happen? You. No, but I just feel like a change might be good. I can't quite convey what I mean yet. Mia. I understand. Sometimes, Mi's intuition just tells us what we need. See how smooth and realistic that sounds? That's exactly how advanced vocabulary lives inside conversation. It's not forced, it flows. Now, let's move to advanced time and cause expressions. Because how you express time and cause can make your English sound instantly more fluent. Instead of saying after that, you might say subsequently. Instead of before that, you could say prior to that. Instead of because of, try owing to, due to, or as a consequence of. Repeat slowly, subsequently, prior to, owing to, due to, as a consequence of, and in sentences. She moved to New York and subsequently started her own company. Prior to joining this team, I worked in marketing. Owing to the heavy rain, the match was postponed. As a consequence of his efforts, the project succeeded. When you use these naturally, your English immediately sounds polished and professional. Let's pause for a brief shadowing practice using a natural dialogue. Mia. How was your last job experience? You. It was rewarding. Prior to that, I worked in a smaller company. Mia. That's interesting. What made you leave? You. Due to some organizational changes, I decided to explore new opportunities. Mia. That sounds like a wise decision. What happened subsequently? You. I took a short break, then started working on freelance projects. Beautiful flow, smooth, advanced, natural English. Finally, let's talk about the sound of advanced vocabulary. The rhythm, clarity, and emotional control in your speech. When you use advanced words, slow down slightly, pronounce each syllable clearly, and let your tone match the meaning. If you're saying something emotional, soften your voice. If it's analytical, stay calm and steady. Here's a small rhythm practice. Repeat each sentence slowly after me, focusing on tone. I was genuinely astonished by the results. She's remarkably insightful when she speaks. It was a bittersweet moment, full of emotion. We subsequently realized how crucial communication is. Perfect. You're building both vocabulary and emotional intelligence through practice. Let's pause here for a moment. Take a breath. You've learned how to express agreement and disagreement politely, how to describe emotions and abstract ideas clearly, and how to use advanced connectors naturally. You're doing beautifully. You're doing wonderful so far. Each word you've learned so far adds another layer to your ability to express yourself in English, not just fluently, but beautifully. In this part, we'll explore how advanced vocabulary helps you express opinions, emotions, and intentions in more refined, accurate ways. Because speaking well is not about using fancy words. It's about expressing what you mean in a way that feels natural, balanced, and real. Let's begin with how to express opinions in advanced English. When you want to give your opinion, avoid starting everything with "I think." There are many elegant alternatives that make your tone sound more thoughtful and fluent. You can say, "In my opinion, from my perspective, it seems to me that, as far as I can tell, to my understanding," or "if you ask me." Let's repeat them slowly. In my opinion. From my perspective, it seems to me that, as far as I can tell, to my understanding, if you ask me. Now let's try using them in daily life examples. In my opinion, this is the best time to start something new. From my perspective, working remotely has many benefits. It seems to me that you've made great progress. As far as I can tell, everything is going smoothly. To my understanding, the event starts at 7 p.m. Each of these phrases sounds more flexible and polished than simply saying, "I think." Now, what about when you want to express certainty or doubt? When you're sure about something, instead of saying, "I'm sure," you can say, "I'm convinced," "I'm confident," "I have no doubt," or "I'm positive." And when you're not sure, you might say, "I'm uncertain," "I'm skeptical," "I'm doubtful," or "I'm not entirely convinced." Repeat after me. I'm convinced. I'm confident. I have no doubt. I'm skeptical. I'm doubtful. I'm uncertain. Now let's use them in real contexts. I'm convinced that practice is the key to fluency. I'm confident that you'll do well in your next interview. I have no doubt this method works. I'm skeptical about that idea. It seems unrealistic. I'm uncertain whether it's worth the risk. Notice how each expression carries emotion, confidence, hesitation, belief, or doubt. All of them sound natural when spoken calmly. Now let's practice how to agree and disagree naturally but professionally. When you agree, you can say, "That's absolutely true. I couldn't agree more. That's a valid point," or That's exactly how I see it. And when you want to gently disagree, you can say, "That's an interesting point, but I see it differently." Or, "I understand your view, though I might have another take on it." Repeat with me. That's absolutely true. I couldn't agree more. That's a valid point. I see it differently. I understand your view, though I might have another take on it. Let's make it conversational. Mia, I believe daily practice is more effective than long study sessions once a week. You, that's absolutely true. Consistency really makes a difference. Mia, but some people prefer flexible study schedules. You, that's a valid point. I see it differently, though. I think structure helps build discipline. Perfect rhythm, perfect tone. You're not arguing. You're communicating with grace. Now, let's explore advanced vocabulary for emotions and reactions. When something surprises you, you can say astonished, amazed, startled, or stunned. When something confuses you, use perplexed, baffled, or bewildered. When something makes you very happy, say delighted, ecstatic, or overjoyed. When something disappoints you, use dismayed, disheartened, or disillusioned. Repeat them slowly. Astonished, amazed, startled, stunned, perplexed, baffled, bewildered, delighted, ecstatic, overjoyed, dismayed, disheartened, disillusioned. Now let's bring them to life through examples. I was astonished by how fluent she became after just 6 months. He looked bewildered by the complicated question. We were overjoyed when the results came out. She felt disillusioned after realizing the truth. They were disheartened by the team's loss. Each of these words paints a picture, not just what you feel, but how deeply you feel it. Let's take a small emotional practice exercise. I'll say a situation, and you imagine your reaction with an advanced word. You receive an unexpected gift. You feel delighted. You can't understand a complex topic. You feel perplexed. You lose something you worked hard for. You feel dismayed. You win a competition after months of effort. You feel ecstatic. You see something shocking. You feel stunned. Excellent. Now let's learn a few advanced ways to describe relationships and people's behavior. Instead of saying nice, say amiable, pleasant, or affable. Instead of mean, say rude, hostile, or antagonistic. Instead of helpful, say supportive, cooperative, or considerate. Instead of selfish, say greedy, egocentric, or self-absorbed. Repeat them softly: amiable, affable, considerate, cooperative, egocentric, antagonistic. Now, some examples. She's an amiable colleague, always kind and approachable. He's become a bit self-absorbed since his promotion. They're very cooperative, Working with them is easy. She can be antagonistic when criticized. Let's make a quick mini dialogue for practice. Mia, what's your new manager like? You. He's quite amiable, always ready to help. Mia. That's good. My last manager was the opposite, very self-centered. You. Oh, that must have been difficult. Working with egocentric people can be exhausting. Now let's talk about motivation and effort vocabulary. Because daily life is full of moments when you need to describe how people try, fail, improve, and persevere. Instead of try hard, you can say strive, endeavor, or make an effort. Instead of give up, you can say surrender, concede, or abandon. Instead of keep going, you might say persist, persevere, or endure. Repeat with me slowly. Strive, endeavor, persist, persevere, endure. Now let's use them in sentences. She's striving to improve her pronunciation. He persevered through every challenge. They endeavored to complete the project on time. We endured long hours, but it was worth it. Now let's turn it into a little motivational conversation. Mia. You've been studying English for a long time. Don't you ever get tired? You. Of course I do sometimes, but I try to persevere. Mia. That's inspiring. So many people surrender when progress is slow. You. True, but I believe every effort accumulates over time. That's how advanced English becomes emotional and empowering. Now, let's look at words connected to success, failure, and growth. Because life is a mix of all three. Instead of success, use achievement, accomplishment, or triumph. Instead of failure, use setback, defeat, or collapse. Instead of growth, use progress, advancement, or development. Practice repeating achievement, accomplishment, triumph, setback, defeat, progress, advancement, development. Now let's use them in real examples. Completing that course was a major accomplishment. The project faced a few setbacks early on. Her triumph inspired everyone on the team. The company's advancement in technology is remarkable. He's made steady progress over the last few months. Here's a short shadowing dialogue to tee these together. Mia. How did your presentation go? You. It was a success, a real accomplishment for me. Mia. That's wonderful. You've made such progress. You. Thanks. There were a few setbacks, but I learned a lot. Mia. That's what matters. Every failure becomes a step toward improvement. Now, let's practice another subtle skill. Replacing emotional exaggerations with accurate words. Instead of saying, I'm super tired, try, I'm exhausted. Instead of I'm very happy, say I'm elated. Instead of it's really big, say it's enormous. Instead of that's really bad, say that's dreadful. Try repeating with me. I'm exhausted. I'm elated. It's enormous. That's dreadful. When you use precise words, your tone becomes stronger and your meaning clearer. That's the power of vocabulary. Clarity through simplicity. Now let's practice describing situations and outcomes with advanced vocabulary. Instead of it was easy, say it was effortless. Instead of it was difficult, say it was challenging. Instead of it was strange, say it was peculiar. Instead of it was interesting, say it was fascinating. Repeat after me. Effortless, challenging, peculiar, fascinating. Now in context. The process was challenging, but we succeeded. She completed the task effortlessly. The story had a peculiar ending. That documentary was fascinating. Now, close your eyes for a moment and imagine using these words in real conversations. With coworkers, friends, or during interviews. You start to notice how you sound more confident, more expressive, and more connected to your message. That's not just advanced vocabulary. That's advanced communication. Let's end this part with one final reflection practice. I'll give you short sentences and you'll repeat them slowly, focusing on emotion and pronunciation. I'm convinced that growth requires persistence. She's remarkably diligent and insightful. The view was breathtakingly beautiful. He felt nostalgic thinking about his old school. They persevered despite countless obstacles. Perfect. You're not just learning English, you're feeling English now. Every phrase carries rhythm, color, and life. You're doing amazing so far. You've absorbed so many rich, expressive words. But remember, learning advanced vocabulary is not about memorizing. It's about living these words in your speech, your writing, and even your thoughts. When you begin to think with them, not just recall them, your English transforms naturally. In this part, let's explore the beauty of context-based vocabulary. Words that describe situations, attitudes, and actions in ways that feel both natural and elegant. Imagine you're telling someone about your goals. Instead of saying, I really want to learn English, you could say, I'm determined to master English, or I'm committed to improving my fluency. The difference is subtle but powerful. Determined and committed express seriousness and dedication. Repeat after me slowly. I'm determined to master English. I'm committed to improving my fluency. You can also describe motivation in many shades. For example, motivated, driven, inspired, and dedicated Each carry a unique tone. I'm motivated by progress. She's driven by passion. He's inspired by challenges. They're dedicated to continuous learning. Try saying them aloud with emotion. When you feel the meaning behind the word, it becomes yours. Now let's talk about attitude vocabulary. Words that describe how people behave, react, or approach life. Instead of saying she's positive, you can say she's optimistic. Instead of he's negative, you can say he's pessimistic. Instead of she's calm, you can say she's composed. Instead of he's nervous, you can say he's apprehensive. Repeat with me softly. Optimistic, pessimistic, composed, apprehensive. Now, some examples. She's optimistic even in tough times. He's a bit apprehensive about the interview. She remained composed during the argument. He tends to be pessimistic about change. All these words describe the tone of people's emotions, not just the surface feeling. Now, let's practice advanced words for decision-making and thinking. Because English has many ways to describe how we think and choose. Instead of think about, you could say reflect on, ponder, or consider. Instead of decide, you can say determine, conclude, or resolve. Instead of change your mind, you might say reconsider or reassess. Let's repeat them slowly. Reflect on, ponder, consider, determine, conclude, resolve, reassess. Now in context. I've been reflecting on my priorities lately. She pondered the question before answering. We concluded that teamwork was essential. He resolved to stay focused this year. They reassessed their plans after the results. When you use these verbs, your language sounds thoughtful, analytical, and mature. Let's create a small daily life dialogue. Mia, you've been quiet lately. Is something on your mind? You, yes, I've been reflecting on my goals for the future. Mia, that's good. Taking time to reassess your direction is important. You, exactly. I've concluded that I need to focus on what truly matters. See how smooth that sounds? Each advanced word replaces a simple one, giving your conversation calm depth and clarity. Now, let's talk about reaction and judgment vocabulary. Words that describe how we respond to events or evaluate things. When something is shocking, you might say it's appalling, outrageous, or unbelievable. When something is impressive, you might say it's extraordinary, magnificent, or superb. When something is disappointing, you could say it's underwhelming, disheartening, or unsatisfactory. Repeat these slowly with me. Appalling, outrageous, extraordinary, magnificent, underwhelming, disheartening. Now, let's use them naturally. The customer service was appalling. No one responded to our emails. The show was extraordinary. I couldn't take my eyes off it. The results were underwhelming compared to our expectations. The architecture of the building was simply magnificent. The more you use these words in storytelling, the easier they stay in your mind. Let's practice describing experiences with emotional precision. Imagine you went on vacation. Instead of, "It was good," say, "It was rejuvenating." If it made you feel alive, say, "It was invigorating." If it was relaxing, say, "It was tranquil." If it was peaceful, say, "It was serene." Repeat with me: rejuvenating, invigorating, tranquil, serene. Now in sentences. The weekend by the beach was rejuvenating. Morning exercise feels invigorating. The lake was calm and serene at dawn. I love spending tranquil evenings reading. Can you feel how your language becomes more sensory and emotional when you use these words? It allows listeners to see and feel your experience. Now let's look at words that describe change and transformation. Instead of saying change, you can say transform, evolve, alter, modify, or adapt. Repeat them softly. Transform, evolve, alter, modify, adapt. Now, examples. The company evolved into a global brand. She transformed her lifestyle completely. They adapted to the new environment quickly. We modified our plan after receiving feedback. Let's use them in a natural shadowing dialogue. Mia, you've really changed your learning habits this year. You, yes, I've evolved a lot. I used to procrastinate, but now I'm consistent. Mia, that's great progress. What helped you transform your routine? You, I adapted my schedule and made small daily improvements. That's how advanced vocabulary can describe growth without sounding robotic or memorized. Now, let's move into relationship and communication vocabulary, because human connection is at the heart of every conversation. Instead of saying we talked, say we conversed. We had a discussion, or we engaged in a dialogue. Instead of we argued, say we disagreed. We clashed, or we had a dispute. Instead of we made up, say we reconciled. Repeat with me: conversed, discussed, engaged, clashed, reconciled. Now in context. We engaged in a deep conversation about our goals. They clashed over how to handle the situation. After some time apart, they finally reconciled. Let's make a soft, realistic dialogue to practice. Mia, you and your best friend seem close again. You, yes, we reconciled after our misunderstanding. Mia, that's nice to hear. It takes maturity to rebuild trust. You. Exactly. We had an honest discussion and cleared things up. That's natural emotional fluency, the kind advanced speakers use in daily life. Well, let's talk about confidence and attitude vocabulary. Powerful adjectives that describe how people carry themselves. Instead of saying, she's confident, say, she's self-assured. Instead of, he's rude, say, he's inconsiderate. Instead of, she's shy, say, she's reserved. Instead of, he's proud, say, he's arrogant, or he's self-satisfied, depending on tone. Repeat with me slowly. Self-assured, inconsiderate, reserved, arrogant. Now in sentences. She's self-assured and speaks clearly during meetings. He was inconsiderate toward others' opinions. She's reserved but very thoughtful. He seemed a bit arrogant about his achievements. Tone matters. Vocabulary shapes not just meaning, but emotion. Now, let's expand your expression for problems and solutions. Because English offers precise words to describe challenges and how we handle them. Instead of saying problem, say obstacle, challenge, difficulty, or setback. Instead of saying solve, use resolve, address, or overcome. Instead of fix, use rectify, repair, or amend. Repeat softly. Obstacle, challenge, resolve, overcome, rectify, amend. Now in sentences. We faced several obstacles along the way. She managed to overcome every challenge. The issue was resolved quickly. They did the policy after complaints. Now, let's imagine you're sharing advice with someone learning English like you. Mia, what would you say to beginners who find English difficult? You, I'd tell them not to give up. Every obstacle is an opportunity to improve. Mia, that's true. With patience, anyone can overcome difficulties. You, exactly. I've learned that persistence always resolves problems in time. Perfect practice. That's confidence mixed with empathy, the mark of advanced fluency. Let's finish this part by exploring achievement and emotion vocabulary together. Because every learner deserves to express pride and fulfillment with precision. Instead of saying, I'm happy with my progress, you could say, I'm gratified by my progress. Instead of, I feel proud, you might say, I feel accomplished. Instead of, it made me happy, you can say, it was fulfilling. Repeat after me. Gratified, accomplished, fulfilling. Now in context. I'm gratified by how far I've come. She feels accomplished after completing her first project. Helping others is deeply fulfilling. Let's combine everything into one final reflective moment. Mia, how do you feel about your journey in English so far? You, Honestly, it's been challenging but deeply fulfilling. I've overcome many obstacles. Mia. That's wonderful. You must feel accomplished. You. I do. I'm gratified by the progress I've made, and I'm determined to keep improving. You're doing incredible. Every sentence you speak now carries tone, nuance, and emotional clarity. That's true language mastery, when your words don't just communicate, but connect. You've made such steady progress. Every moment you spend learning and repeating is strengthening the way you think, feel, and express in English. In this part, let's move into the world of description, storytelling, and precision, where vocabulary helps you paint vivid pictures in your listener's mind. Let's start with descriptive intensity, because sometimes we don't just want to say something happened, we want to describe how it felt, how it looked, or how it sounded. Instead of saying, "It was very quiet," say, "It was silent." Instead of, "It was very noisy," say, "It was deafening." Instead of, "It was very dark," say, "It was pitch black." Instead of, "It was very bright," say, "It was dazzling." Repeat slowly with me. Silent, deafening, pitch black, dazzling. Now, let's make them real. The room was silent after the announcement. The music was so loud it was almost deafening. The cave was pitch black inside. The sunlight was dazzling as it hit the snow. See how those words create images in your mind? That's the power of advanced description. Words that make your listener feel what you mean. Let's explore a few more sensory words. Words that describe feelings, textures, and sensations. Instead of soft, you might say velvety or plush. Instead of rough, you can say coarse or gritty. Instead of cold, try chilly or icy. Instead of warm, say toasty or balmy. Repeat with me softly. Velvety, plush, coarse, gritty, chilly, icy, toasty, balmy. Now in context. The blanket felt velvety against my skin. The sand was coarse beneath my feet. The air was chilly in the early morning. It was a balmy summer evening. That's how you add emotion and touch to your storytelling. Your English becomes sensory, real, alive. Now let's move into movement and action vocabulary. Because when you describe people or events, precise verbs make everything more dynamic. Instead of saying walk, try stroll, astride, or wander. Instead of run, say sprint, dash, or race. Instead of look, use glance, gaze, stare, or peek. Instead of say, use remark, reply, whisper, or mutter. Repeat slowly after me. Stroll, stride, sprint, dash, gaze, glance, whisper, mutter. Now let's use them naturally. She strolled along the beach at sunset. He sprinted to catch the train. They glanced at each other with excitement. She whispered softly so no one else could hear. These verbs help your listener imagine what's happening. Every action becomes vivid and expressive. Let's build a short narrative to bring this to life. Mia. Imagine this. You're walking through a quiet park early in the morning. The air is chilly, the grass damp with dew. You stroll slowly, breathing deeply. A soft breeze brushes your face, carrying the faint scent of flowers. You glance at the sky, a pale pink glow rising with the sun. In that moment, you feel calm, peaceful, alive. Now pause and think about how words shaped that moment. The vocabulary wasn't complicated. It was specific. Let's practice a few more descriptive pairs to replace common words in your speech. Instead of very small, say tiny or minute. Instead of very big, say enormous or gigantic. Instead of very hot, say scorching or boiling. Instead of very cold, say freezing or frigid. Instead of very good, say excellent, outstanding, or exceptional. Repeat these calmly after me. Tiny, enormous, scorching, freezing, exceptional. Now in context. The cafe was tiny but charming. The mountain looked enormous against the blue sky. It was a scorching afternoon in July. The water was freezing but refreshing. She did an exceptional job on her project. That's what advanced vocabulary does. It allows you to say more with less. Now, let's shift toward intellectual vocabulary. Words you'll often hear in academic, professional, or thoughtful discussions. Interpret. To explain the meaning of something. Demonstrate. To show clearly through example or action. Illustrate. To explain with examples. Emphasize. To give special importance to something. Highlight. To draw attention to. Repeat softly. Interpret. Demonstrate. Illustrate. Emphasize. Highlight. No, you use them naturally. The teacher illustrated the concept with a simple story. He emphasized the importance of teamwork. She highlighted the main points in her presentation. We tried to interpret what the data meant. These words make your English sound analytical yet approachable. Now let's explore advanced emotion-related verbs. Because emotions are never one-dimensional. Instead of like, say admire or appreciate. Instead of hate, say despise, detest, or resent. Instead of love, say adore, cherish, or value. Repeat slowly. Admire, appreciate, despise, detest, adore, cherish, value. Now in sentences. I really admire people who never stop learning. She despises dishonesty. They cherish the time they spend with family. He values sincerity above all. When you use emotion-based vocabulary with care, your words feel genuine and powerful. Let's do a quick emotional tone exercise. I'll say a feeling and you'll respond with an advanced word. You like something very much. Adore. You hate something strongly. Detest. You respect someone deeply. Admire. You treasure a moment. Cherish. You find something unfair. Resent. Beautiful. Now, let's talk about tone and formality. How advanced speakers adapt vocabulary to fit situations. For casual settings, you might say kids, friends, or cool. For formal settings, you'd say children, colleagues, or impressive. The same happens with verbs. Instead of help, you might say assist. Instead of start, say commence. Instead of end, say conclude. Instead of need, say require. Instead of buy, say purchase. Repeat softly after me. Assist, commence, conclude, require, purchase. Now, examples in context. They assisted the manager with the report. The meeting will commence at 10 a.m. The project concluded successfully. We require additional information to proceed. She purchased a new laptop last week. See how formality shifts the tone. It doesn't sound complicated, just professional and polite. Now, let's take this concept into practice. Imagine you're in two versions of the same situation, casual and formal. Casual. I started my new job yesterday. Formal. I commenced my new position yesterday. Casual. We finished the event successfully. Formal. The event concluded successfully. Casual. Can you help me with this? Formal. Could you assist me with this? This awareness of tone makes you sound adaptable, someone who can move smoothly between friendly and professional English. Let's now explore precision in time and frequency expressions, words that help you describe when and how often things happen with more control. Instead of always, you might say consistently or habitually. Instead of sometimes, say occasionally or periodically. Instead of often, say frequently or regularly. Instead of rarely, say seldom or sporadically. Repeat after me softly, consistently, occasionally, frequently, seldom, sporadically. Now, in examples. She consistently arrives early. They occasionally travel abroad for work. We meet regularly to discuss progress. He seldom complains about anything. The updates are sent sporadically. Those words help your speech become smoother and more exact. especially when describing habits or routines. Now, let's add a few cause and effect expressions that are common in advanced conversation. Instead of so, you can say therefore, thus, or as a result. Instead of because, you can say due to, since, or owing to. Instead of if, use provided that or as long as. Repeat softly. Therefore, thus, owing to, provided that. Now, examples. The roads were closed due to heavy snow. She worked hard, therefore she succeeded. He'll join us, provided that he finishes on time. Owing to the delay, the meeting was rescheduled. Perfect. You're now speaking. G in smooth, flowing, connected sentences, just like native speakers in thoughtful conversation. Let's do a final integrated shadowing practice for this part. Mia. How's your English study routine going? You. Quite well. I consistently review new words and occasionally practice with native speakers. Mia. That's excellent. What's been the most rewarding part so far? You. Honestly, feeling more confident in expressing subtle ideas, it's fulfilling to notice progress. Mia. That's beautiful. So, what's next for you? You. I plan to keep going. As long as I continue to evolve, I'm satisfied. You're mastering advanced fluency one conversation at a time. These words, these phrases, are now a part of you. Every time you use them, they'll grow stronger and more natural. You've come so far already. You've built a foundation of precise, expressive, and emotionally intelligent vocabulary. Now it's time to explore how advanced English helps you think, react, and connect in deeper ways. Because vocabulary isn't just about words. It's about how we understand people, ideas, and emotions through language. Let's begin this part with perspective and reasoning vocabulary. Words that help you explain your ideas clearly and sound balanced in discussions. Instead of saying, I think, try I believe, I suppose, or I assume. If you want to sound more reflective, say, I would argue that, it appears that, or from my observation. Repeat softly after me. I believe, I assume, I would argue that, it appears that, from my observation. Now in sentences, I believe everyone learns best in their own way. I assume she'll join us later. I would argue that consistency matters more than intensity. It appears that communication is improving. From my observation, people learn faster through practice. These phrases are useful in conversations, essays, interviews, anywhere you want to express thought with maturity and calm confidence. Now let's move toward analytical vocabulary, words you can use to describe logic, structure, and clarity of ideas. Evaluate means to carefully judge or assess something. Assess means to examine and estimate the quality or importance. Analyze means to study something in detail to understand it better. Interpret means to explain meaning. Infer means to reach a conclusion based on evidence. Repeat with me slowly. Evaluate, assess, analyze, interpret, infer. Now, let's use them naturally. We need to evaluate the effectiveness of our methods. The teacher assessed the student's performance fairly. She analyzed the situation before responding. He interpreted the message differently from others. From the data, we can infer that the trend is improving. These are words of clarity and understanding, perfect for daily discussions, problem-solving, and self-reflection. Let's now shift into the realm of emotionally rich adjectives, the kind that make your speech sound alive, human, and relatable. Instead of nice, try pleasant, delightful, or gracious. Instead of bad, say terrible, awful, or horrendous. Instead of boring, say monotonous, dull, or tedious. Instead of interesting, say fascinating, engaging, or captivating. Repeat softly. Pleasant, delightful, gracious, horrendous, monotonous, fascinating, captivating. Now use them in context. The dinner was delightful and full of laughter. That speech was fascinating. I couldn't stop listening. He's a gracious host. He makes everyone feel comfortable. The journey was long and monotonous, but worth it. Each of these words adds emotion, mood, and texture, the kind that helps listeners imagine your experience as you speak. Now, let's explore metaphorical vocabulary. Words that describe emotions and situations through vivid comparisons. When you're very happy, you might say, I'm over the moon, or I'm walking on air. When you're sad, you could say, I'm feeling blue, or I'm down in the dumps. When something is easy, you could say, it's a piece of cake. When something is difficult, it's an uphill battle. Repeat softly. Over the moon, walking on air, feeling blue, down in the dumps, uphill battle. Now, imagine using them naturally in conversation. Mia, how did you feel after getting the promotion? You, I was over the moon. Mia, that's wonderful. Was it an easy journey? You, not at all. It was an uphill battle, but so worth it. These expressions are advanced not because they're long, but because they show emotional understanding and cultural fluency. Now, let's look at words of persuasion and influence. Because advanced English often involves expressing your viewpoint effectively, instead of tell, use inform, notify, or reveal. Instead of ask, use inquire, request, or seek. Instead of explain, use clarify, elaborate, or illustrate. Repeat softly. Inform, notify, inquire, request, clarify, elaborate, illustrate. Now, in context, she informed me of the change in schedule. I inquired about the available courses. He requested additional time to finish the report. She elaborated on her idea beautifully. These words are polite, formal, and useful for work, meetings, and professional communication. Now, let's practice polite and respectful communication, a true sign of advanced fluency. Instead of I want, say I would like. Instead of give me, say could you please provide me? Instead of tell me, say would you mind explaining? Repeat slowly with me. I would like. Could you please provide? Would you mind explaining? Now let's practice in dialogue. Mia, how would you ask your teacher for more examples politely? You, I'd say, would you mind giving a few more examples, please? Mia, perfect. That sounds both natural and respectful. Tone matters. The words you choose reflect your emotional awareness and professionalism. Now, let's move to cause and consequence vocabulary, the kind of language that connects ideas logically, consequently means as a result of something, therefore, also me, and as a result. Nevertheless means despite what was just said. Moreover means in addition. Nonetheless means even so. Repeat softly. Consequently. Therefore. Nevertheless. Moreover. Nonetheless. Now, examples in context. She worked consistently. Consequently, her fluency improved. The idea sounded risky. Nevertheless, we tried it. Moreover, practicing every day built her confidence. It was raining. Nonetheless, they continued their walk. Using such linking words makes your speech sound polished and structured, a clear sign of advanced command. Now let's switch focus to reflection and mindset vocabulary, the kind that expresses self-awareness and growth. Resilient. Someone who recovers quickly from challenges. Adaptable. Someone who adjusts easily to new situations. Ambitious. Someone who has a strong desire to succeed. Humble. Someone who stays modest despite success. Grateful. Someone who appreciates what they have. Repeat gently, resilient, adaptable, ambitious, humble, grateful. Now use them in real sentences. She's resilient. No matter what happens, she keeps moving forward. He's very adaptable. He thrives in new environments. She's ambitious, but also humble. a rare combination. He feels grateful for every learning opportunity. Let's make this emotional and practical through a small scene. Mia, you've faced many challenges while learning English. What keeps you going? You, I try to stay resilient. Every mistake is a lesson. Mia, that's inspiring. You've also been very adaptable in changing your methods. You, yes, and I'm grateful for every step. Even the small progress matters. Perfect. That's the kind of language that sounds both fluent and emotionally intelligent. Now, let's explore impression and character vocabulary, words that describe how people come across to others. Instead of saying nice person, say pleasant or charismatic. Instead of funny person, say witty or humorous. Instead of serious person, say sincere or earnest. Instead of mean person, say harsh or callous. Repeat softly after me. Charismatic, witty, sincere, earnest, callous. Now in context. She's such a charismatic speaker. People love listening to her. He's witty and always makes clever jokes. She's sincere about helping others. He sounded callous when he ignored their feelings. Each of these words refines the way you describe human behavior. You go from simple observation to deep understanding. Now, let's talk about conflict and resolution vocabulary, because life and conversation often involve disagreement or tension. Instead of saying fight, you can say quarrel, argue, or clash. Instead of solve, say resolve, settle, or mediate. Instead of problem, use issue, conflict, or dispute. Repeat with me softly. Quarrel, clash, resolve, settle, mediate, dispute. Now in examples. They quarreled over the decision but later resolved it. The manager mediated the dispute between departments. The two friends clashed over opinions but stayed respectful. Advanced vocabulary helps you express disagreement without negativity, showing maturity and empathy. Let's end this part with a short reflection practice, the kind that ties together everything you've learned. Mia, you've learned so many new words. How does it feel to use them naturally? You, it feels liberating. I can finally express emotions and ideas clearly. Mia, that's wonderful. Advanced vocabulary isn't just knowledge, it's freedom. Freedom to communicate with precision. You, exactly. I'm not just speaking English anymore. I'm living it. That's the goal, to make every advanced word part of your thinking, your emotions, and your story. You've reached the final part of this journey, and that's something to feel proud of. You've not only expanded your vocabulary, but you've also deepened your relationship with the English language. You now think, feel, and express more precisely, more confidently, and more beautifully than before. In this final part, We'll strengthen what you've learned and explore advanced vocabulary connected to expression, emotion, creativity, and growth. Words that make you sound natural, human, and authentic in every situation. Let's begin with expression and emotion, because the way we speak reveals our personality and heart. Instead of saying "I said," you can say "I expressed," "I stated," "I mentioned," or "I declared." Instead of "I told," say "I conveyed," or "I communicated." Instead of "I felt," use "I sensed," "I realized," or "I experienced." Repeat softly after me. Expressed, mentioned, declared, conveyed, sensed, realized, experienced. Now in context, I expressed my gratitude to everyone who helped me. She mentioned that she might move next year. He conveyed his thoughts through a simple story. I realized how much I had grown as a person. See how these words carry clarity and emotion? They make your English sound complete and mature. Now let's explore creativity and imagination vocabulary. Words that describe ideas, art, and innovation. Instead of creative, say inventive, imaginative, or innovative. Instead of new, say novel, original, or groundbreaking. Instead of plan, say strategy, framework, or approach. Instead of idea, say concept, vision, or notion. Repeat slowly. Inventive, imaginative, innovative, novel, groundbreaking, framework, concept. Now, let's use them naturally. She has an innovative approach to teaching. It was a novel idea that changed the company. He created an imaginative design inspired by nature. They developed a framework for long-term success. You see, vocabulary like this doesn't just make your English advanced. It makes your ideas sound organized, confident, and inspired. Let's move to emotional tone vocabulary. Words that describe feelings in shades, not extremes. Instead of happy, say content, satisfied, or pleased. Instead of sad, say sorrowful, downhearted, or mournful. Uphill battle. Now imagine using them naturally in conversation. Mia, how did you feel after getting the promotion? You, I was over the moon. Mia, that's wonderful. Was it an easy journey? You, not at all. It was an uphill battle, but so worth it. These expressions are advanced not because they're long, but because they show emotional understanding and cultural fluency. Now, let's look at words of persuasion and influence. Because advanced English often involves expressing your viewpoint effectively, instead of tell, use inform, notify, or reveal. Instead of ask, use inquire, request, or seek. Instead of explain, use clarify, elaborate or illustrate. Repeat softly. Inform, notify, inquire, request, clarify, elaborate, illustrate. Now, in context, she informed me of the change in schedule. I inquired about the available courses. He requested additional time to finish the report. She elaborated on her idea beautifully. These words are polite, formal, and useful for work, meetings, and professional communication. Now, let's practice polite and respectful communication, a true sign of advanced fluency. Instead of I want, say I would like. Instead of give me, say could you please provide me? Instead of tell me, say would you mind explaining? Repeat slowly with me. I would like. Could you please provide? Would you mind explaining? Now let's practice in dialogue. Mia, how would you ask your teacher for more examples politely? You, I'd say, would you mind giving a few more examples, please? Mia, perfect. That sounds both natural and respectful. Tone matters. The words you choose reflect your emotional awareness and professionalism. Now, let's move to cause and consequence vocabulary, the kind of language that connects ideas logically, consequently means as a result of something, therefore, also me, and as a result. Nevertheless means despite what was just said. Moreover means in addition. Nonetheless means even so. Repeat softly. Consequently. Therefore. Nevertheless. Moreover. Nonetheless. Now, examples in context. She worked consistently. Consequently, her fluency improved. The idea sounded risky. Nevertheless, we tried it. Moreover, practicing every day built her confidence. It was raining. Nonetheless, they continued their walk. Using such linking words makes your speech sound polished and structured, a clear sign of advanced command. Now let's switch focus to reflection and mindset vocabulary, the kind that expresses self-awareness and growth. Resilient. Someone who recovers quickly from challenges. Adaptable. Someone who adjusts easily to new situations. Ambitious. Someone who has a strong desire to succeed. Humble. Someone who stays modest despite success. Grateful. Someone who appreciates what they have. Repeat gently, resilient, adaptable, ambitious, humble, grateful. Now use them in real sentences. She's resilient. No matter what happens, she keeps moving forward. He's very adaptable. He thrives in new environments. She's ambitious, but also humble. A rare combination. He feels grateful for every learning opportunity. Let's make this emotional and practical through a small scene. Mia, You've faced many challenges while learning English. What keeps you going? You. I try to stay resilient. Every mistake is a lesson. Mia. That's inspiring. You've also been very adaptable in changing your methods. You. Yes, and I'm grateful for every step. Even the small progress matters. Perfect. That's the kind of language that sounds both fluent and emotionally intelligent. Now, let's explore impression and character vocabulary, words that describe how people come across to others. Instead of saying nice person, say pleasant or charismatic. Instead of funny person, say witty or humorous. Instead of serious person, say sincere or earnest. Instead of mean person, say harsh or callous. Instead of angry, say irritated, frustrated, or infuriated. Instead of worried, say anxious, concerned, or uneasy. Repeat softly with me. Content, satisfied, sorrowful, irritated, anxious. Now in examples, I'm content with how things are going. She felt anxious before the interview. He looked frustrated when the plan failed. They were pleased with the final outcome. She sounded sorrowful as she spoke about the loss. Each of these words adds emotional detail, the difference between a simple feeling and a human experience. Now, let's look at advanced mindset vocabulary, the words that help you describe your mental and emotional growth. Mindful means aware and present in the moment. Reflective means thoughtful and introspective. Perceptive means able to notice details and understand deeply. Proactive means taking action before problems appear. Open-minded means willing to consider new ideas. Repeat softly. Mindful, reflective, perceptive, proactive, open-minded. Now in sentences. She's mindful of how her words affect others. He's always reflective after big decisions. They're perceptive. They notice even the smallest details. She's proactive about learning new skills. He's open-minded when listening to different opinions. Let's practice a short dialogue using these words in real-life tone. Mia, you've been learning so consistently. What helps you stay focused? You, I try to stay mindful and proactive. I plan small goals every week. Mia, that's great. You've also become more reflective. I can tell by the way you express yourself. You, thank you. I've learned to be more open-minded too. English has changed how I see the world. That's exactly how advanced vocabulary and emotional maturity blend together. Natural, not forced. Now, let's learn words that describe change, progress, and transformation. Because growth is at the heart of every learning journey. Instead of grow, say evolve, develop, or advance. Instead of change, say transform, shift, or redefine. Instead of improve, say enhance, refine, or strengthen. Repeat softly with me. Evolve, transform, enhance, refine, strengthen. Now in examples. My perspective has evolved over time. She transformed her routine completely. He refined his pronunciation through daily practice. They enhanced the design to make it more elegant. Each of these words shows progress, not instant, but thoughtful and meaningful. Let's talk about communication and influence vocabulary next. Essential for advanced fluency. Instead of help, you can say assist, support, guide, or empower. Instead of motivate, you might say inspire, encourage, or uplift. Instead of convince, say persuade or influence. Repeat with me slowly. Assist, empower, inspire, persuade, uplift. Now use them in context. She inspired her students to believe in themselves. He persuaded the team to try a new approach. They empowered others to share their opinions. She assisted the manager with the final report. These are strong, emotional, and respectful verbs. They make you sound like someone who leads with empathy and understanding. Let's create a short motivational moment using them. Mia, what's one thing you've learned through studying advanced English? You, I've learned that words can empower people. They can inspire change, encourage confidence, and uplift someone's spirit. Mia, that's so true. Advanced vocabulary is powerful because it connects hearts as much as minds. Now, let's learn vocabulary for success and self-development. Words that describe effort, results, and reward. Instead of goal, say objective, ambition, or aspiration. Instead of plan, say strategy or blueprint. Instead of hard work, say dedication, persistence, or commitment. Repeat gently. Objective, aspiration, persistence, commitment. Now, use them in sentences. My main objective is to become fluent in English. She pursued her aspirations despite many obstacles. They showed remarkable persistence throughout the project. He's committed to lifelong learning. When you use such vocabulary, your speech becomes grounded, full of direction and purpose. Now, let's talk about expressing possibilities and probabilities. Because advanced English often deals with uncertainty in nuanced ways. Instead of maybe, say perhaps, possibly, or conceivably. Instead of probably, say likely or in all likelihood. Instead of can happen, say may occur or might arise. Repeat with me softly. Perhaps, possibly, likely, may occur, might arise. Now in sentences. Perhaps we'll meet again soon. It's likely that she'll call later. Such issues may occur in fast-paced environments. It might arise again if not addressed properly. See how these words make your English sound polite, thoughtful, and accurate? They help you communicate uncertainty clearly, a very advanced skill. Now let's look at response and reaction vocabulary. Words that help you handle different emotional situations gracefully. Instead of angry, say irritated, frustrated, or infuriated. Instead of surprised, say astonished or taken aback. Instead of happy, say elated, thrilled, or delighted. Instead of sad, say disheartened or devastated. Repeat slowly: irritated, astonished, delighted, disheartened. Now, in examples, I was astonished by her generosity. He looked delighted after hearing the news. She felt disheartened when the plan failed. They were infuriated by the unfair decision. The emotional power of your words now matches their precision. That's advanced mastery. Let's bring everything together with a reflective, real-life shadowing practice. Mia, looking back, how do you feel about your English journey? You. It's been transformative. I've evolved not just in vocabulary, but in confidence. Mia. That's wonderful. What keeps you motivated? You. I'm inspired by progress itself. Every mistake teaches me. Every word refines me. Mia. Beautifully said. Your language is both advanced and authentic. You. Thank you, Mia. I've learned that true fluency isn't about perfection, it's about connection. Now take a moment and breathe. Let every word you've learned settle into your memory gently. You've studied the language of clarity, precision, and emotion. And more importantly, you've practiced living English instead of just learning it. Let's close this masterclass with a final reflection practice. Repeat slowly, letting the meaning guide your tone. I am capable of expressing myself with clarity and confidence. I use words thoughtfully and with purpose. I continue to learn, refine, and evolve. I am proud of how far I've come. I am fluent, not just in speaking, but in thinking and feeling in English. That's the essence of advanced English: awareness, confidence, and connection. So keep practicing daily. Use these words in your writing, in your thoughts, in your conversations. Make them part of who you are. Because language isn't only about communication, it's about identity, about how you see and express yourself to the world. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'm truly proud of your dedication, your curiosity, and your persistence. Keep believing in your progress, keep expanding your vocabulary, and keep speaking with confidence. And remember, every word you master becomes a part of your voice, and your voice has power. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep shining through your English.